Hello guys, welcome back. I'm Thunder and this is gonna be tutorial 5.5 of the series where we will finish the whole inventory system right now. So in this tutorial we're going to be generating our hotbar and we're gonna make it so we can consume items. So first thing I'm gonna do, you should have already created the cooked meat item if you already saw the last tutorial. If you didn't, go ahead and make sure to watch the entire series because you're gonna need them for this. You're gonna need all the tutorial, the inventory parts for this. And I'm going to go ahead and give it a second because I forgot to do that last time. And then over here, I'm going to select this bag and I'm gonna give it this actual data. So we have some cooked meat. Let's go ahead and pick it up. And I'm going to pick it up and I'm also going to check something. Yeah, it's going above the stack because it's not supposed to be greater than the max stack, but don't worry about that. So yeah, we got our meat right here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go and let's get started on our hotbar generation. But first I'm gonna do a couple of UI things. I'm going to duplicate this background first and delete the content. Actually, I'm not going to delete the content holder. And over here, I'm going to create an empty right on the all menus, create empty, and it's going to be called hotbar. Do go ahead and do this. You don't need to do the background thing. Actually, you should, because so you don't have to reconfigure your content holder. But I'm going to go ahead. Actually, yeah, just delete the content holder from this one. I'm gonna rename it to just BG. And inside this, first I'm going to resize it to what it should look like. So I'm going to go ahead and do it like this. I'll move it up a bit. And yeah, that should be enough to fit our slots right in there. So I'm going to go ahead and save it. And I'm going to go ahead and just copy this one, drag it into here, give the top and bottom it's gonna be 0, and then once again we're gonna do the same thing that we did last time. So over here on stretch we're going to choose this and go ahead and do that. Alright, so now let's get started on generating our slots. So let's go into Visual Studio in our inventory manager script. And I'm going to create a new function over here. Actually, just duplicate this one. Duplicate it. And we are going to go ahead and we're going to name it generate hotbar slots. And we're also going to call it on start. So generate hotbar slots. Now there's one thing we're going to do. Over here we're going to do public int hotbar size. I'm going to give it a default value of 6. And we're going to use the same slot template, but we will need one more transform. So I'm going to do public transform hotbar content holder. This will be where all of our hotbar slots are spawned at. So now let's go back to our generate hotbar slots, and over here instead of content holder, do hotbar content holder. And yeah, that's pretty much it for generating our hotbar. So let's go ahead and test it out. First, go to all menus and drag over here your content holder from your hotbar. Alright, and that should be it for this. So let's go ahead and open it up. Currently we cannot see our hotbar, but we will in a moment. I'm just going to rearrange this so it looks how it should. And I'm going to go down here. I'm going to move it up right about there. And I'm going to see how it looks. Okay, I know what's happening. So first of all, we gotta go back to our code. Go back to generate hotbar, because we're still using the inventory size value, and it should be the hotbar value, hotbar size value. So we're going to do hotbar, and let's go back in here. Let's hit play. Although first I'm gonna do some things. This is at 0, 0. So I'm gonna move it a little bit up, so it's centered. Again, when I'm moving things like this a little bit up just because of out of nowhere, it's just for aesthetic reasons. So you can see there's more space over here than down here. But you can see there's no more slots peeking out over here. And if we go into our hotbar, we see there's only 6 slots. So I'm gonna move this a little bit more upwards and test it. Alright, there we go. All I need to do now is just decrease the width of this, so it's the same distance top, left, and right. There we go. Looks perfect. Alright, so next thing we're going to do is we're going to make it so we can actually consume items. Because right now you can see we can just drag it over here. So actually we're going to do one more thing, which is you can see they're getting added first to our hotbar. So we're going to generate the hotbar first, and then we'll generate our inventory. So just change that, first generate hotbar slots and then generate slots. Alright, so let's go ahead and do this. There we go, you can see it's already getting added over here first. So I'm gonna drop it, pick it up, pick up, and you can see that. And we can drag them over to our hotbar. Now, we want to be able to consume the food. So here's what we're going to do. First, we're going to go over to slot. Actually, no. I'm just gonna add support for... Okay guys, so this is what we're going to do. First, over here, we're going to do private slot, and it's gonna be a slot array. So it's gonna be hotbar slots. So this is not going to be so modular, but the way we're gonna do it, it's going to be really easy to adapt it to more than 6 slots. So what we're going to do is if input dot get key down, and over here I'm gonna use alpha 1. So here's one thing to keep in mind. The number 1 slot for the hotbar slots, it's going to be 0, just because of the way arrays work. So whichever number you're doing, just take 1, just subtract 1. So if it's key 1, then it's 0. If it's key 2, then it's 1, and so on. And over here, all you're going to do is hotbar slots 0 dot try dash use. It's going to give you an error because we still have not created this function, but we will in a moment. Now do this for all your slots that you have. If it's 6, 7, you know, I'm going to do it really quickly just to keep the video short, and I'll come back in a moment. Okay guys, so I already have it done. Now let's go to our slot script. We're going to go all the way down, and right above on pointer enter, we're going to do public void try downwards dash use. Now over here we're just gonna add if data dot item type dot item type equals item SO dot item type dot consumable. We're gonna make a public void down here called consume. We could just do the code in there, but these actual functions are gonna get a little bit bigger, especially for the weapon equipping. So I want to do it on separate functions just to keep it organized. And we're gonna do consume, and right over here in consume, we're going to do the player equals get component in parent player. The reason I'm doing local variables is to just not have to spell out get component in parent every time. Sorry. Now we're gonna do player dot health. Okay, yeah, we're going to have to go to our player script because that's not public, so we're gonna need to make those public. Let's go into the player script and okay, player stats. Sorry, that's why it wasn't showing up. Forget about this. You can close your player script. It's player stats. Stats. And over here, do the same. Adjust stats. And I'm just gonna name this stats. We're going to do stats dot health plus equals data dot health change. And we're gonna do the same stats dot hunger plus equals data dot hunger change. And this thing on hunger change, you could even do it negative, so it takes hunger away. So for example, if you're eating raw meat, you can make it so it takes health away. So instead of putting 20 health, you could do negative 20 health, and we'll take 20 health away on the item data. Stats dot thirst plus equals data dot thirst change. All right. So let's go back to survival game tutorial, and we're going to go ahead and hit play. Okay, there is an error. I try dash use. Where did I mess it up with the naming? Okay, because it's a lowercase u. Alright. Yep, there we go, solved. So let's go ahead back in here, let it compile, and we're gonna test it out. That's why I created the cooked meat item, just so that we can test this out. Alright, so let it load. And okay, let me just use the damn mouse. Alright. So as you can see, I'm pressing 1 right now. Well, you cannot see it, but I'm pressing 1 and it's not doing anything. If I drag it over here. Okay, I know what's happening. Okay. Yeah, I forgot to add the slots, the hotbar slots to the hotbar slot array. So over here, what we're going to do is on generate hotbar slots, we're also going to do another list up here. We're gonna call it list slot. It's gonna be hotbar list. I'm just gonna name it list equals new list slot. And now all we have to do is over here we have to do hotbar list dot add slot. Then we close it, and down here we just do hotbar slots equals hotbar list dot to array. Now just close it, and now it should work. So you're going to have to get out of play mode though, because I'm pretty sure that when working with actual item data, like scriptable objects, you cannot just change the script at runtime and it will work fine. Alright, so if we pick it up now, we hit 1, it's empty. If we go over here and we hit 1, okay, we're getting health added, but we need to subtract 1. So if you can see, yeah, we're getting that added. So we're going to do one more thing. And we're going to go ahead over here and do an item SO, not item SO, slot, sorry. on consume, we're going to do stack size minus minus, which pretty much means stack size minus 1. And then we're going to execute update slot. Now we're going to have to add one more thing. So on update slot, go back up to update slot. And over here, we're going to do one last thing. If data dot item type is not equals dot item type dot weapon, because for the weapon system it's gonna work different, so just do that. If it's not equals item type weapon, we are going to do the following. We're going to check if our stack size is less than or equals to 0, just to make sure there's no errors. If stack size is less than or equal to 0, okay, forgot the if. We are going to make it data equals null. So let's go ahead and save it. And now let's go back in here. The reason I'm doing data equals nulls is because that will empty the slot automatically. Because we don't want to have a slot at 0 or -0 or anything like that. And there's also one more thing we're going to need to add. Yeah, right there. Okay. Over here we're gonna do if data is not equals null. Because otherwise it will give us data error where nothing was getting updated. And also we're going to go down here to try use, and we're going to do if data equals null, just return. So don't execute any code after the return. Save it and go back to Unity. So here it is. As you can see over here, it's alpha 1, then the hotbar slots will be 0. And alpha 2, then hotbar slots 1, as I just said. So that's pretty much the way you have to do it. So whenever you want to do, let's say you want to do up to 9. So you do 7 and hotbar slots 6, 8 and hotbar slots 7, so on. So yeah, that's pretty much the way it works. It's really simple. You just copy and paste and change to numbers. So it shouldn't be an issue to add more slots. Also, there's one more thing we have to do. So go over here and add this array, private slot array, hotbar slots. Actually, never mind, I already told you that. Okay, so go back to generate slots. Here, hotbar slot. And we're going to add a couple of things. So over here, what we're gonna do is we're gonna make a new list. We're gonna call it slot, and then over here we're gonna call it hotbar list. And we're gonna make it equals a new list, new list slot type. And then over here, we're also gonna add the slot that we generate for the hotbar to the hotbar list. So we're gonna do hotbar list, hotbar list. Okay, I forgot the capital over here. Alright, so here we do dot add, and inside the parentheses we just split slot. And then down here we're gonna do the hotbar slots, the array, equals hotbar list dot to array. Right now, go ahead and save it, and let's go and test it out. So let's hit play. Alright, we'll do in a moment so we can see the hotbar even when our inventory is not open. So don't worry about that. I'm gonna pick this up, which should be the main. So if I go here, then put it here, hit 1. There we go. It's consumed. I'm gonna make the hunger and thirst 0, just so it's real noticeable, because right now it's just a change of 1. So over here, hunger is gonna be 0, and over here, thirst is gonna be 0. So I'm gonna go ahead and eat. You can see 25 hunger and 10 health. 25 hunger and 10 thirst, which is the amount we specified on its data. So if we go ahead, and you can see it decreasing, and when it gets to 1, it just completely leads. You can see we cannot drag it, nor anything else. So that's pretty much it for this tutorial, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. So for next one, we're going to be working on the crafting system. We're gonna start work on that. We'll be making it so you can craft items, takes them from the inventory, and again, it's gonna work a similar way to the inventory data, where it's gonna be a scriptable object that contains all the data, and the crafting list right here is generated by itself. So also keep in mind that right now we don't have any weapon equipping, but we will do that in the future. So it's not something that won't be on the tutorial series. It's actually going to be in here. I know this was a shorter video than usual. I'm pretty sure it was. I haven't checked the footage yet, but I think it was. So, but just keep in mind this is just to wrap everything up for the inventory. And there you go. You have a fully functional inventory system. You can consume food. You could just make medkits, anything. In order to make a medkit, it's pretty simple. You just go to your item. So let's go into items. And we're going to do cooked meat. Instead of health change 0, we're going to put 10. And then let's put player health down. Okay, it's in 89 already. Alright, so what I'm going to do, because we already consumed our meat, is over here I'm just going to put the cooked meat. I'm just using the cooked meat to show you guys. Let's write this one right here. There you go, cooked meat. Drag it here, and you can see there it goes. It healed me by 10. So that's it for the video. I hope you guys liked it. If you did, please consider subscribing and hitting the like button. Also, if you want, you can leave a comment down below. It always helps a lot, and I'll see you guys on the next one.